Hi there, this is Ronnie coming at you with a video. I'm going to post a link to a video by Becky Rose where she is talking about hit points and you know, this whole thing of you get to 0 hit points in D&D, you are unconscious. I will say that this isn't really a video response, more a video that sort of commented on a discussion that it brought up between us. I will say, because I don't play D&D and because I don't use miniatures or scenery in my RPGs, a lot of Becky's videos really aren't speaking to me. But if you are someone who plays D&D, or if you are someone who plays uses miniatures in your role-playing games, or scenery in your role-playing games, check her channel out because there's a lot of good stuff in there, and she has a very, very funny sense of humour. You know, she's great. She's mad. She's great. Her videos are very watchable, and the one I'm doing the link for is no exception. But it came up, obviously she posted the link on the YouTube RPG Facebook page, Brigade Facebook page, and it sort of got me thinking. I made a comment and it got me thinking about it. I have a lot of RPGs that use hit points, and in some cases when you hit 0 you're dead. In some cases, when you hit 0, you're unconscious and you die at like -3, and in others you die when you reach sort of negative constitution. So if your constitution is 10, you'll die at -10. And sort of permutations of all that. I have a lot of other games, however, that use wound conditions. First time I ever saw wound conditions was the old D6 Star Wars. Since then I have games like Blue Rose and Cult. Obviously True 20. Savage Worlds uses a very simplified version of wound conditions. And the idea being that rather than having hit points, when you take damage, it's a sort of you know, you get a condition such as being unconscious or you know, wounded or heavily wounded, or you know, dying, or you know, just flat out dead. And there's variations of how this is you know, hit, because obviously when you're using a hit point system, the weapon that you hit with will do a particular amount of damage that will be augmented by various things, whereas there'll be different ways of doing it when you use wound conditions. Funnily enough, my favourite game, Castle Falkenstein, has both. The original rulebook came out and it had hit points, and things did damage that came off your hit points. Comme il faut, which is the player's companion, changed the rules completely and created this table for task resolution and damage, which now uses wound conditions. Which do I prefer? First of all, I'd like to say I don't think there's an easy answer. I don't think it's a case of one or the other. You know, I did a video some time ago about whether people preferred what was better, RPGs that use the level system or RPGs where you just up your skills. And similarly, I said then that I didn't think there was a right answer other than what was right for you, and I think the same applies here. It's all going to be about whatever works best for you. And for me, It's wound conditions. For a very simple, extremely lazy reason. It's less paperwork. I'm not a big fan of combat. I hate combat that drags on and on and on. And you can get into that a lot when you're dealing with hit points and a kind of slow drudge. Wound conditions tend to be fairly vicious, and I prefer that. Also, and it's something that Becky touches on in her video, the idea of role-playing your wounded status. Now, granted, it's something you should be doing anyway, and granted, wound conditions are a sort of cheat way in, you know, because they're telling you the wound condition you should be acting. Having said all that, I still do prefer them, and as much as I play, and I still play games that have levels rather than raising skills, which I prefer. You know, I prefer skill raises rather than leveling up. I prefer wound conditions to hit points, even though I've got a lot of games that use hit points. I'm running a game of Dungeon Slayers right now, which uses hit points, and that is a bit of a drudge combat-wise. Although the combat's quite swift, it is that sort of slow eking down. You know, you kind of clock watching till they hit 0. So I want to throw it out there to you guys. What is your preference? Do you prefer hit points, or do you prefer wound conditions?